The real question is this: are we living a full life? Are we making the right decisions when it comes to children, marriage, work, faith, and so many more issues we deal with daily? How can we know with confidence we are living a full life?
Welcome to the Full Life Crew podcast. We are your hosts and life coaches, Jareth and Deborah Navarre. We will help you find the confidence in those critical areas of your life. Our goal is to help you bring to your family the support, structure, and providence we all desire so we can live the life we want to live. A complete life, a joyful life, a full life.
We are so glad you're here. Now let's get started. Welcome to the podcast. This is Deborah and Jareth, and today we're going to be discussing why less is more. As a parent, it's only natural to do everything you can for your children. You want to protect them, nurture them, and help them grow into happy, healthy adults. But sometimes, the best thing you can do for your kids is to let them do things for themselves.
Yeah, so today we're talking about doing less for your children so that they become more independent and more responsible for themselves, which will help them as they transition from little kids into toddlers, into teenagers, all the way into adults. You know, as a parent, we're constantly pulled in a million different directions between work, just being a chauffeur, the extracurricular activities as far as sports and school. It can be tough to find time for ourselves as parents. However, there is one way to create more time, and that's to let the kids do more for themselves. Instead of trying to do everything for the kids all the time, you need to teach them to do their own things. Not only will this provide them with with the parent as a much needed what's the word I'm looking for? Respite,
like a
relief.
Yes, a relief, like a rest almost.
But it also gives the kids a sense of independence and responsibility. And the best way to do is to start small. Start with small things like getting dressed in the morning, making them pack their own lunch, lay their clothes out, let them lay their clothes out the night before. Like
every parent, it gets so hectic in the mornings. It don't matter if you have 1, 2, 3, 12 kids, it doesn't matter. Morning times are always stressful. So starting with teaching your little ones how to put on their clothes, that in itself is a big thing.
Yeah, so at our house, our older ones are pretty much self-sufficient now because they were raised in this atmosphere. And just the other day, we had a bunch of kids at the house. So, our kids, we have 8 kids, and our kids are very, very independent, very determined, very goal-driven, individuals. And not so much the little ones, but more of the teenagers and the older ones. And the little ones are pretty goal-oriented too, but not as much as the old ones because the little ones are still in training. But the other day we had a group of kids at the house, and one of them came in and asked you for.
He wanted a water bottle because they were all outside playing.
Yeah.
Hence, it is November and it's 88 degrees where we live, so it's very hot. So he come in, he said, "Can I have a water bottle?" And I said, "Sure, buddy." They look over there on the table. And a few minutes later, he's like, "Can you help me?" And I said, "Well, just grab one." He goes, "Well, I can't open it." So I was kind of perplexed, and I said, "Oh, it was a fresh thing of waters we had just got from the store. It was still wrapped in the plastic, but there was already a hole in the plastic where someone had taken it out." So I said, "Buddy, there's already a hole in it. Just pull you one out." So he's like, "Okay."
So he could not get the water bottle out of the plastic?
Yeah, he was trying to figure out how to open the plastic.
Open the plastic? Okay.
Which the plastic had already been opened. If he would have looked, he would have seen somebody had already got one out. But then another thing is, he's an older kid.
He's 8. Yeah, this child is 8 years old. He has an older brother, and he also has a younger sibling. Do our kids struggle with water? I've never even had to get James or AJ a water. That's never even been an issue.
No, ours know that I'm not going to go get a water. So if they can't rip the plastic, they're going to find some scissors or something and cut it open.
See, and okay,
they're going to figure it out.
Well, no, that's important. So, in this situation, this particular child is not used to he doesn't normally get authority to do that kind of stuff. Most parents would be like, well, I don't want my kid to have pick up a knife or a butter knife or a pair of scissors to go cut open the plastic because I'm terrified. But in actuality, in our house, you're like, hey, you want a water? You better go find a way to get that water. But it's just amazing how the little kid that was over was like so helpless just for water. I mean, imagine if nobody was around. Would he just sit there and wait until he died of thirst? I mean, what was going to happen?
I'm not sure. I think he would have probably figured out a way. But the fact is I was in there, and so he's like, "Oh, I know she'll probably do it for me."
Well, okay, so you gave him the water, and in passing, I heard that conversation, and I thought to myself, he had already asked you for a water, which was very cool because he's very polite.
Very polite kid,
and
yes.
he asked you for the water, and you were like, yeah, sure, yeah, have a water. But then he was like, well, I can't get it. Can you get it for me? And I thought, wow, you can't get a water? But then I thought, I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's in that cellophane, that plastic wrap that's really hard to get open. But what you're saying is it was already open. He just had to reach in and grab the water.
Right. Like if he would have looked at it, he would have seen the hole in the top.
Okay. Well, where this for me escalates into a bigger issue is then I had walked through and I was back outside and we had like 10 kids out there and we were playing a pickup football game in the yard. Well, he comes outside and Cole happened to be out there with us and he come to me and he's like, hey, can you open my water bottle? And I said, no, I'm not going to open your water bottle. You open the water. You're 8 years old, dude. You open the water bottle. And then he says, well, I can't. So I didn't ask him why he couldn't. I just told him I wasn't going to open it. I mean, if all else failed and he like couldn't get it open, I was going to open it.
Well, yeah,
but me personally, we have 8 kids. I just don't see any reason why a grown adult should open a water bottle for a fully capable 8-year-old child. So after he asked me, he then turned to Cole and he said, Cole, can you open it? And Cole, being raised in our environment where we have taught the kids to be independent and they do a lot of things on their own, Cole says, no, you open the water. And he's like, and the little guy said, I can't. And so Cole, then this is where I think, this is where I failed. So before we go any further, though, Deborah, we need to thank our sponsor because this is not possible without our sponsor. Have you ever dreamed of owning your own business? Maybe you thought about franchises, but weren't quite sure which one's right for you? Well, let me tell you a little bit about Tiki. Tiki's is a shaved ice cream, and coffee franchise that started in Boca Raton, Florida, and now has expanded into multiple locations across the U.S. So what makes Tiki so special? Well, Tiki's offers unique products that people love. Shaved ice cream, and coffee. Not to mention their franchise model is low cost and easy to operate. Tiki's also provides extensive training and support to all their franchisees. So if you're looking for an opportunity to be your own boss, then I urge you to consider Tiki's Franchising. Contact them today at tikisfranchising.com to learn more about the franchise. Right?
Okay.
So the little guy turns to Cole, and then Cole, having it for some reason as a teenager, having a better understanding of how to raise children than me as an adult, he then takes the water bottle and shows him how to open it. So he shows him how to hold it with the other hand. He shows him how to grab it with his fingers because he was grabbing it like with his palm.
Okay.
The cap.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get it open. But when Cole showed him how to use his fingers, he popped it open. When he popped it open, he was so pumped up that he could open the water bottle now. And it's so simple and it's so small.
I think us as parents, we don't think about teaching them how to do it. We just expect them. So I think that the key is you teach them, and then they have to practice it. They have to keep working on it like that.
I think you're right. I think where we run into a problem is we get so busy doing all this other stuff, those little moments that we don't have patience to teach the kid how to open the water bottle, those little moments where we don't slow down and teach and let them win or lose. We got to let them win. We got to let them lose on their own. And I think it's the patience on the parents. So I in that sense kind of failed. But what's cool is my 18-year-old son, who was raised by me, steps up and does it correctly. And then, that little dude had like this moment. I mean, it's just opening a water bottle, but he had a moment of, like it was like a moment of
aha moment. Like,
aha.
aha.
I can open the water bottle.
So now he's running around everybody's houses, open their water
Yeah, no,
bottles.
so
Like,
now
I
he's-
got it.
Now he's
Yes.
opening everybody's. Now he's just going to get water.
He's accomplished.
He feels He felt so accomplished. He was so pumped up, and I think he started catching a bunch of passes after that because we were throwing the football in the yard.
As we were talking about the water bottle, the kid couldn't open the water bottle. It's kind of like tying shoes. So, like, when the little kid's small, you put them in slip-ons or Velcro or something like that so you don't have to tie the shoes. Well, as they get older, they don't really make a lot of those shoes, so you have to buy tie shoes. And you tie their shoes, Well, you get tired of tying shoes. And then the kid's like, hey, I want to tie my shoes. Well, then you're like, okay, you show them once. Well, that doesn't work because it's like they try 15 times and they can't get it. So you're sitting there for 15 minutes trying to get out the door, trying to get down the road. You get frustrated. At least I do. And I'm like, just give me the shoe. Let me tie it. So patience comes in on that too. And eventually, if you let the kid keep trying and you show them, they get it. And then all of a sudden, they tie their shoe one day and they're like, I did it. And they're so pumped. And then they want to tie their shoe and the neighbor's shoe and their brother's shoe all the time.
There's like so much happening. People, I think where we fail again as parents is that we look at tying the shoe as a meaningless task. And to an adult, it is a meaningless task. It's something like it's almost irrelevant because it's so small. But to a child, it's a big moment in their life when they can learn to tie the shoe. And it's also a big moment for a parent because a parent needs to slow down and need to teach and have patience. Because what happens is if you don't teach the child and you don't have the patience, you may spend another year or two tying shoes. Or you do like a lot of parents do and they don't buy the shoes with the laces and you buy the Velcro ones. So when you see a kid, like our kids walk around with the Velcro, I mean, that's like saying, hey, we're kind of lazy parents, like we're lazy, but I think there's so much in those two examples of the water bottle and tying the shoes and for like parents, because the kids are determined. And I think the kids learn from us, like they learn how to be hasty. They learn how to be like short. Because, you're like, here, just give me that. I'll tie the shoe, And so they learn these things from us. So I think when we're talking about doing less means almost like standing back and doing so much more for us because we have to really dig deep to have patience. We got to be okay to slow down. We got to be okay to let them do their thing and let them try and let them fail.
And then they learn and then they feel accomplished and then they want to do more for themselves. Instead of saying, hey, Mom, can you do this? Hey, Dad, can you do this? They look to themselves to get things done.
And then the end result in all of this is there's going to be more time for with us.
Well, yeah.
Because if our kids are more independent and we've taught them when they're young, they're not going to need us to do all these meaningless tasks all the time. So, I mean, really and truly by having patience, especially in the beginning with your children and teaching them how to make these small wins, what you're really doing, what we really have done is to set up more time for you and me.
I agree.
We're sitting here doing
it's a win-win.
Yeah, we're sitting here doing a podcast together.
You're right.
Yeah.
They're out there tying their own shoes.
Yeah, and drinking other
their
people's
water.
water bottles. As a parent, it's only natural to want to do everything for your children. But sometimes the best thing you can do is less. By letting our kids fail, letting them fail and win on their own and having some patience and allowing them to do things for themselves, we're really setting them up for success in life. And then on top of that, it's given us as parents way more free time between the two of us. And we're pretty busy. I mean, we have 8 kids. We have 8 active kids. They all play sports. They're all in extra activities outside of sports. So we have a very active family and we have a very goal-oriented group. And so, I don't know, I guess the message today would be to do less, but it's not like just sit around on the couch and do anything. It's actually I think for parents, you got to do more. But you have to be less hands-on with the kids. Am I explaining that? Do you understand what I'm saying?
You are. It actually is very not enjoyable. What's the word? Fulfilling to be able to see your kids do things for themselves.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in today. We hope you found some value in what we had to say. If you did and you liked our content, please like and share it with your family and friends. And tune in to next time. We will be talking about
Chores.
Thank you for tuning into our podcast. Life's a journey.
Enjoy the ride. Did you enjoy the podcast? Would you like to sponsor a podcast? If you're looking to advertise your brand, product, or message, our platforms are the best place to do it. We reach a large and engaging audience, and we can help you get your message out there. If you want to learn more about how you can advertise with us, visit us at thefulllifecrew.com/shop. So thank you once again for listening and tuning into our podcast. And just remember, while you're out there trying to live your absolute best full life, life's a journey. Enjoy the ride.